All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Beer Tree Brew Company, and they're out of Port Crane, New York, and this is their Morning Timber. So they are calling this a breakfast stout, which is basically an imperial stout that is brewed with coffee and grain wood-fired evaporated maple syrup. Comes in at 9% alcohol by volume, 30 IBUs in the time of review. This can is just over 3 weeks old. So another stout from Beer Tree, and I really like what Beer Tree does. Now, I remember a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber, Matt, over at Massive Beer Reviews, he reviewed this one, I believe it was earlier this year. Beer Tree sent him a box of beer, and this was one of the beers he sent. They sent his way, and he really enjoyed it. So I cannot wait to crack this one open and get into it. So here we go. Got the hashtag proper glassware. Oh yeah, that's pouring out very nice and viscous, looking fantastic. It's like a deep, darker brown color, but man, does that look fantastic in the glass without question. So yeah, that poured out like kind of like motor oil, not from a color aspect, from just the thickness and viscosity to it. It looked crazy, but yeah, in the glass it is black everywhere except for the bottom here where it's like a deeper brown. Has about a half finger of this really nice mocha colored head, very creamy looking. Yeah, it looks awesome. That looks like a proper imperial stout. Let's get a nose. Now this one has been out of the fridge for about 45 minutes now, so we're at appropriate drinking temperature, I think. Yeah, that's still big coffee. I was gonna say, oh, it's still big coffee at 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks old. I mean, it should be. 3 weeks isn't huge, but I mean, yeah, the coffee's big roasted coffee note. Mixing in with roasted malt character as well. Has almost like a charred slash smoky kind of vibe to it. Now, when they say grain wood fired evaporated maple syrup, obviously that's what they're doing to the maple syrup, but I don't know if I'm getting a little bit of like a smokiness from the maple syrup, being that it was grain wood fired. I have no idea. But I am getting a little bit of a maple sweetness, very small, very minute. On the nose, don't think I'd be able to tell you that there is maple syrup in here if I didn't know it was already in here. So yeah, I mean, it's not huge on the nose. Getting a little bit of like vanilla too. Slight dark fruit like figs and dates and plums and things like that. I want to say more of like a cocoa powder, like a baker's chocolate. It has more of a bittering aspect from the chocolate characteristic. Yeah, very complex smelling, and it smells like it's going to be a big beer, but a damn tasty one. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Man, that's nice. That's real nice. First things first, this body is just spectacular. This is like medium full body. Big heft at 9%. Really nice. Yeah, I'm going to say actually, after a couple sips, it's like lower full body. It's still really nice at 9%. Nice body to it. The mouthfeel itself, soft, smooth, slightly creamy, but it still has some good carbonation. I think I remember Matt saying that like the carbonation from, he thought the adjuncts, coffee and the maple syrup, kind of played a role in his, and I think his was a bit undercarbed. Mine doesn't seem to be that way at all, which is nice. You know, being a different batch and whatnot. So soft, smooth, creamy, good carbonation level. The taste right up front, I'm hit with that baker's chocolate, like a bitter and cocoa powder. And right after that, dark fruits come in, which is really nice. And then mid-palate, the coffee and maple just intertwine. It's like a big blast of roasted coffee mixed in with a nicely like a robust maple syrup that has a nice sweetness to it, but it's not overly sweet. It just has, you know, a solid sweetness to it. That continues on to the back of the palate. The back of the palate, I'm left with a little bit of like a bittering, slightly acidic feel from the coffee, and a slight residual sweetness. This is not too sweet of a beer. I had concerns, 9% maple syrup, that this might be too sweet, and it certainly is not. It finishes semi to full on dry. Like I said, a touch of residual sweetness, and that bittering acidic coffee thing on the back end is breaking up the sweetness a little bit as well. This is more, I think this for me leans a little bit more to the drier side of things than sweet, which is nice. 9%. I can tell this is a big beer from just sipping on it and the flavors and whatnot, but really getting no alcohol in the palate. A little bit of a warming in the chest. I would probably guess 8.5%, so it hides it. It hides it a little bit, but you can tell this is a bigger beer in general. Very easy to drink though. Like, I'm taking this down each sip. The great thing I like about this one is this is a breakfast stout that is actually a breakfast stout. This is, a beer that, like Founder's Breakfast Stout. I always found that beer to be nicely balanced. It's not too sweet. You have so many of these, adjunct beers nowadays and adjunct stouts that it's too sweet. You only want 3 or 4 ounces and then you're done. This one, I could drink a can. I could drink a couple cans. I'd be on my ass, but I'd enjoy every second of it. So this is a really well-constructed, well-made beer. I'm digging it. I'm going to have no problems putting the rest of that down, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it. So, Morning Timber from Beer Tree, I'm going to give that a low 4.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.2 out of 5. It's a really nice beer, and there's not much more to say about it. I think it drinks extremely well. I think for a 9% breakfast stout, this is one of the better drinking breakfast stouts that I've had. It's just, hits the nail on the head as far as a breakfast stout is concerned. And I'm enjoying drinking this one, and it's beer. That's all you can ask for. So price and availability on this one. This I picked up at Brewed and Bottled in Lewiston, New York. So another one of these breweries that I wasn't getting distribution into Buffalo. They were getting into Rochester, but now we're seeing Beer Tree here in Buffalo, and I got my hands on a couple different offerings, and I'm so happy because they make awesome beer. It's cool to see them in Buffalo now. I paid $5 for this can, which I'd imagine this was probably $18 to $20 a can. So I don't think Chris upcharged at all on this one. If he did, it was like 25 cents for the can. It wasn't much, and I appreciate that. I appreciate, bottle shop owners like Chris not doing that because it's awesome. Awesome being able to pick up this beer here in Buffalo for the same price that you would pay at the brewery. I mean, that's fantastic. And availability, like I said, they pretty much get good distribution throughout Western New York. You'll see their stuff in a lot of different places in Rochester. Now they're showing up here in Buffalo. I'd imagine through Central New York and whatnot. But Beer Tree, one of my favorite breweries from New York recently, especially over the last year. They're kicking out some really good beer, and this is another one. So 4.2 out of 5 for a Morning Timber, or is it Morning Timber? It is Morning Timber. I almost forgot. And I'm doing a review. How terrible am I? Pretty terrible. But Morning Timber from Beer Tree, 4.2 out of 5. Damn good beer. If you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it because I think it's quite good, and I am going to drink the rest of it, and I'll talk to you guys later. So until the next one, cheers.